Well, this week on Reliving the Extreme, we are discussing the episode of ECW from February the 6th, 1996. Nate Maxon, your host, here with you, along with my brother Aaron.
Hello, everybody.
And Mr. Chad Austin.
This take two.
Take. Well, I was hoping Aaron's audio was going to work because actually, before we went on the air, Chad and I kind of monopolized the conversation, so Aaron didn't even get to say anything. So I was hoping that once we went on the air, his audio would be working. So
yeah, he popped in a little bit late.
It's working as far as I know.
Well, I had a question that I wanted to ask before we start talking about this episode of ECW, because this week, or this past week, as we're recording, I guess it was, Ric Flair showed up on AEW to have a little segment with Sting. And they're going to have Sting going on kind of a retirement tour. And I don't think we've ever, obviously, because it's ECW, sometimes I know we delve into other things, but I don't think we've ever really discussed him on the show with his career wrapping up and being so long. I just wanted to see what you guys' general impressions are of Sting and his career. You know, are you fans? What do you think? Because I mean, if you look at it, he's had almost a 40-year career, for Christ's sake.
Well, so have I. There you go. I never was a fan. Not from day one. I mean, not even in the UW. I mean, maybe in the UWF. Maybe you could probably, all right, he was all right. Never. Not a fucking single day was I, fuck. Sting. Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, no, it wasn't for me, you know. I don't know. Aaron, what do you think?
I think he should have just, how do I say it? When WCW shut down, and I know guys got to make money and be in the business and do their thing or whatever, but to me, it's like his career ended for me when WCW closed, because like TNA, I didn't really watch it much, and it just continued to be the same thing over and over and over again with him. And
TNA was a money grab.
Yeah, and I think the crazy thing is, I think he went there thinking, "I'll go in here, I'll sign a year, I'll get some money out of these people," and then they just kept throwing money at him. And how are you not going to say no? But like I said, I just think, to me, once WCW ended, that's when Sting ended for me. That WWE run was a disaster, and it just to me, it's almost like anything I did like about him, it just kind of ended. And then when I saw him do fucking that shit with Orange Cassidy on AEW, I was like, all right, I'm done with this guy.
Oh, I don't even think I even seen that.
All right, there's a lid in the washer, a lid in the dryer. I gotta go here, call my kids, and call Renee. I never called her.
Sounds
Probably
good.
fucking pooped it out.
But anyway.
But yeah, I think I see what Aaron's saying about Sting's career. I honestly, I don't know, because I mean, you can make the case for the WCW Crow run with the NWA when he was in the Crow outfit, but I honestly think his career might have been better off had he jumped to the WWF when Hogan went to WCW, because I think he could have had a more substantial run in the WWF if he would have went when he was earlier in life. By the time he got there, Vince doesn't look at that guy in any way, shape, or form as a WWE guy. You know, he's just some relic. To Vince, he's just some relic from the past of another company he fucking put out of business. So what does he care about fucking Sting and his presentation, or whether he wins or loses in the WWE? He didn't give a shit about Sting.
In my opinion, he had probably, in his whole entire run, or just say, I'll even include TNA, but I'm basically saying WCW. He could have jumped at any time during that run, and he would have been a big name, big star.
Mm-hmm.
At any time during that, but like You know, and then at the end of the day, when he did, he was like, sad old Sting. You know what I mean? It was, you know,
sad mime Sting.
yeah, it was like, you know, like nobody at that point, nobody really cared because everybody had already seen 37 years of Sting. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they could have done anything new to reinvent. How you gonna reinvent this fucking guy? You know what I'm saying?
Then there's that classic story with Aaron. I know you know the story with Scott Hall at WrestleMania when Triple H was going to wrestle Sting.
Yeah. They were practicing or whatever, and like getting timing down and everything, and like, it was the one where the NWO came out and DX came out, and for one, that made no fucking sense. Why is the NWO coming out to help Sting at WrestleMania? But whatever. I mean, they could have let Luger be there. They had a ramp, but the thing is, like, Nash and Hall, the Nash said him and Hall were like standing on the apron as they're going over the match, and Hunter's like, yeah, then NWO will come out, and the DX will come out, we'll do this, we'll do that. You'll go for the Stinger Splash. I'll end up hitting you with the sledgehammer and the pedigree, and then 1, 2, 3. And Scott Hall looked at Kevin Nash and was like, Sting needs to get a better fucking lawyer. Like, it's like your first fucking match in this company, and you're gonna get a fucking sledgehammer to the head and pin.
Pedigree 1, 2, 3, brother.
Well, I mean, behind closed doors, we all know what that meant, right? That was the final nail in WCW. That was
Yeah.
I mean, that's behind closed doors.
Because if you look at WWE 2002 through 2004, Triple H pretty much beat the entire WCW roster, and then that one that was left that he didn't get to beat yet was Sting. So then come 2016 or 15 or whatever, he's like, finally got the motherfucker. Pedigree 1, 2, 3.
Like imagine if Jerry Lawler was booking that at the time. Or Jerry Jarrett was booking that at the time. Dude, Sting would have been there for 18 months. You know? They would have had fucking not even like not saying they wouldn't have touched. But they would have had angles building up to a match. Oh, they didn't do dog shit for nothing for the whole entire angle. Triple H beats him. And it's like, oh, okay.
No comeback either, brother. No comeback.
No, nothing at all. Like he wasn't even on Raw Monday.
Yeah. Well, I guess now that we talked about it, like I said, I just with the whole retirement thing coming up with him, and when I saw that he was retiring, I thought, oh well, okay, he's retiring, and then I got to thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, he's had a career that's, if you think about it, it's almost as long as Terry Funk's in-ring career was, and I got to thinking about that, and I was like,
nowhere near as good.
Oh no, not in any way, shape, or form is it as good, but I just was thinking of time of like the length of his run or length of his career, like, you know, he's had a really long career and doesn't really have a whole lot to show for it.
You could almost make a claim that he was stealing checks for, I don't know, 15, 20 years of that. You know what I'm saying? Just stealing them. You figure, I don't know, if you consider 86 through 91, okay. That's what, 5, 6 years that he worked his ass off, made good money, established himself. 90, 92, 95. You know, he kind of slowed down. He had bigger matches, you know, but didn't work as much. And then after that, he just became fucking the guy who bought a ticket. Sat in the fucking, he bought a cheap seat here. He didn't even buy a ticket in the front row.
He bought the cheapest seat.
Yeah. So, I mean, there you go. How much money did he actually make in the business? That he couldn't even buy a fucking front row ticket.
I bought the cheapest seat in the building, and I'm bringing my bird.
And TNA, like nobody saw that. Even I never saw that, and I watched fucking everything. I just didn't like where I live at. I don't get, and I don't get TNA, and very seldom did I ever get TNA unless it was on a national platform. So Sting didn't mean shit to me, like where I, in Baltimore.
Mhm.
But when he came here, for the Icons of Wrestling thing or whatever, this motherfucker, he charged like $25,000. I might be a lowballing. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing out a number, right? $25,000 an hour for him to show up. But if you wanted him to put the face paint on, it was an extra $10,000. What the fuck do I want you to show up looking like? You know what I mean? Just fucking beach bum fucking Sting, you know what I mean? Like, what do I think? I mean, I would expect if I was going to pay fucking Diesel, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing out a name, Diesel. I would want him to show up with the fringe fucking leather pants, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever your gimmick is. Bushwhacker Luke, who probably wears that shit every day anyway, so it wasn't going to be a hard sell. But you know what I'm saying? But he's like, well, if you want me to show up as Sting, an extra $10,000.
Yeah, the convention.
Well, yeah, like when he was in Fort Wayne, at a convention here, I think it was like $250 just for like a picture. Then if you wanted him to sign something, it was X amount, and I know a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're paying him so much, so the promoter has to recoup some shit too. But it was fucking ridiculous.
And
then
on
he put up,
top of that, they had him set up like behind a big black thing to drape him off from the rest. So you couldn't even see him unless you paid to get into that little part of the building to see him. It's like, come on.
They did the same thing here in Baltimore. Like when I was milling around, just like I got in for free, and I was milling around talking to guys, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was hoping it was like fucking Denny Brown or something. And I walked over and I was like, what the fuck is this line for? Oh, it's Sting. It was like $240. Like to get what? Like to say hi to him? You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it was. Because I mean, you get one thing signed. It costs you like $200 to meet it. But then anything you wanted to get signed, that costs extra. Another $100. I'm thinking like, what the fuck, dude? How pompous is this guy? He's not fucking Jerry Seinfeld, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I got Bob Backlund's autograph on a magazine cover for $20, and then he talked my face off for 25 minutes. Like, he wasn't like, move along, pal. I mean, me and I think Aaron had to pull me away from Bob Backlund. Like, let my brother go, Bob Backlund. Cool as fuck, though. Bob Backlund was cool as shit, man, when I met him.
Dude, we've all had that Bob Backlund moment.
You gotta get away from Bob Backlund. I want to meet Tracy Smothers before he leaves. Come on, Jesus Christ.
I thought fucking Bob Backlund was fucking. I thought Bob Backlund tried to recruit me to like be his I don't know. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know what he wanted to recruit me to be. like he was asking me my dates, like what dates that I had and stuff, and I'm like, dude, I don't have any of these dates. Oh well, I can get you booked. Like I'm thinking like, okay, but you're going way too far north for me. You know what I'm saying? You're going way out of my area and stuff. I mean, if I can't get guaranteed pay, I'm not going. Oh, I got you. And I'm thinking like, yeah, I don't know what I'm getting set up for here. And I even talked to one of the guys in the locker room. They're like, no, just say no.
You're just gonna wind up stranded in Utica.
Fuck yeah. I was gonna end up just driving Bob Backlund all around, and I'm like, dude, there's only so much Bob Backlund I can take. I mean, you're only champion for 5.5 years, dude. Yeah, and you didn't even set the world fire when you were the champion.
Well,
Yeah.
getting into our subject at hand, which is ECW. Like I said, this is February 6th, 1996. We open the show with Raven and his new piece of ass, Komodo Wanalea. And he says, you know, he's got a new love in his life, et cetera, you know, kind of alluding that it might be Kimona. But of course, the real new love of his life is his ECW championship belt.
Kimona, I mean, you guys know the story about Kimona, right? Like who she was?
I don't know if I do.
No, apparently you do. She was a stripper at a club in New York that all the boys went to when Paul found her there. And she had zero, none experience whatsoever in the wrestling business. They just thought that because she was Asian looking, and personally to me, I don't even think she was even that hot. To tell you the truth, but some reason they fucking loved her, man, because she would do anything. But fuck, you give an Asian $20, you know, shit, you can get a lot done. I don't know where you guys are from, how it works in your guys' town, but here in Baltimore, $20 to an Asian gets you a long way. Especially if you get a fucking Uber and you get an Uber Asian.
Yeah, Uber Asian.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. That's all fucking Kimona was, dude. She was just a stripper.
And so you said she didn't have any experience. Did she even? I mean, I don't know how well you knew her or whatever, but her story, or was she even a fan? Like, was she even a wrestling, or was no?
No, not at all. Not at all. Nothing. Zero. Zippy.
Just there to look Asian.
And she's like, yeah, Paul must have ran into her at the China Club or some shit. Hey, I got a job for you, an angle. You know what I mean? That's how that shit works. And that sucks for a lot of guys that are talented. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of guys that deserve spots like that or whatever. And you just run into a hot girl and all of a sudden, yeah, she's on top. I'm doing my Scotty. She's hot. Well, put her with me. Yeah, Paul.
Yeah. You know he drove that angle hard.
Yeah, Paul. We'll put her with me. She's hot. Yeah, you know. Are you paying for a hotel? Yeah, that's right. You pay for her. You're good. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Kimona was fucking a turd.
We start the actual show proper off with the ECW debut of Juventud Guerrera, Juvi versus Rey Mysterio. And so my question that I wrote down here is just really quick, just a quick answer or a long answer, whatever kind of answer you guys want to give. Who do you think Rey had better matches with, Juvi or Psychosis?
Psychosis.
Ooh. Well, the reason why you're saying Psychosis is because him and Psychosis had more matches previously, like together. Him and Hoovy had. I actually went back and I looked, and him and Hoovy, they were a lot of times they were teammates, not opponents. So they didn't have nowhere near as many matches against each other as they did with each other as partners. So I guess you're right in a sense by saying Psychosis because but the problem with the Psychosis match was that they did the same exact match in Tijuana, 45 times. Like I've seen it. I've seen that match a million, 100 times probably. And I've seen Ray and Ruby probably about maybe 20 times. But bringing it
Well,
to the
plus,
States,
I'm not a huge fan of Uvi anyway. I just never really did it for me. I just don't like the guy.
but Ruby, with the little girl, he's a fucking girl. I'll tell you a fucking story. My buddy went to the fucking gym one time, and Ruby was there. And my buddy was working out, and he told me, he texted me, he's not even a wrestling fucking fan. He just knew who he was. And he just said, Hoovertude's here at the gym working out. And I go, oh yeah? He goes, yeah, but he's not working out. I said, what's he doing? He goes, he's just standing in front of the mirror. Like just posing.
I'm the juice. I'm the juice.
Yeah. And then, like he's the whiz. And I go, so what are you saying? He's like, well, I don't know because I'm not a wrestling guy, but he's not working out. I think he's looking for partners. And guess who he left with? Bob
Ahmed
Orton
Johnson.
Sr. Bob Orton Sr.
Oh my God, Ahmed Johnson would split Uvi in half.
Like I died when he said Bob Orton Sr. Because I'm like, what? Because that was when Bob Orton came back. Like that, I don't know what 2007, 8, 9, whatever that year
Yeah,
was.
yeah. When he did the stuff with Undertaker.
Yeah, I guess it was. And he's like, yeah, who be left with Bob Orton Sr.? And I'm like, oh my God. He's getting this superplex from Bob Orton Sr. in the back of a Bronco.
There's a pair I didn't expect.
No shit. I got you know, like I would have not have believed it if one of you two fucking jabronis would have told me this. But it was somebody who's not a wrestling fan, who just knew enough about wrestling to call me and tell me. And like, Ruben Guerrero left the gym after posing in the mirror for like an hour with Bob Orton Sr. And then he said that Bob put a towel over him because he was all oiled up. I was like, all right, well, that's enough for me. I know where this one too. Foggy windows. What the fuck, man? The wrestling business.
God bless you, Ace. Anyway.
Yeah, who would have thought, dude? Right? Seriously.
The match itself is just, it's extreme, quote unquote, extreme lucha. They're doing crazy stuff with chairs, et cetera, all the shenanigans, as we like to now refer to it as. And Ray wins the match with a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. Did either of you guys have any notes specifically on anything you wanted to mention that stood out from the match itself?
Well, there's nothing that I wanted to mention that stood out for the match itself. But one of the things that Joey said that reminded me of something that was going on at the time was when I looked at the date of the show was the storm that we had in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where ECW was the day before that show because I wasn't on it, and that's probably why I wasn't on it because of the storm. But where I lived at, we had 17 inches of snow, and it came overnight. So I was just wondering if these guys were snowed in. Were they snowed in overnight?
Right.
How they got to Philadelphia from where they, what I mean? Like that's something that I would love to look back into and figure out how they got there. Because I do remember that storm in '96 where, like, you guys probably got it first, right? But you don't even remember it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know I know a couple of times in the late '90s. I mean, I would have been like a junior in high school at that point, but I can remember not having to go to school and stuff during that school year because we had a huge snowstorm. So it's probably the same one you're talking about.
Oh, dude, we were off for like 2 weeks. Like I said, it was like 17 inches, like at one time. Just boom, just dropped it on you. And that's the reason why I wasn't up at that show. Plus, it was in New York, so I wasn't doing that show anyway. But yeah, it was a major snowstorm. So I would have loved to have known where, like, guys like Hoovy, Ray, and all, where they were at the day before. Coming from Tijuana or coming from wherever in Mexico, like where the weather is so fucking great, where they come up here and they're stranded somewhere. They would have had to have been stranded somewhere, at some point. There's no way, unless they were in the states, in the city, a day before the storm.
Aaron, any comments on the match?
It was just a basic lucha match. I thought. I mean, it wasn't anything bad. It just was there, and it was a decent debut for Uvi. But I mean, usually when a guy debuts, I'd rather see him get a win. But I mean, who else is he going to fight other than Ray? I mean, they could have put him in there with the Puerto Rican or something, but it was just there.
Well, you know why they put Ray over. I mean, because Ray was staying, who he wasn't.
Oh, I get it. I mean, I'm not saying like that Uvi should have beat Ray. I just think like this maybe should have been Uvi's second match. Like maybe give him a win and then have him fight Ray.
Oh, I totally agree. I would have had at some point I would have had Hoovy had beaten Ray at some point, just to make the last match that much more meaningful. Sure, I totally agree with that. But no, it was like, all right, well, Hoovy's leaving. We got him for what, 3 days,
Yeah.
and Ray's staying. So his visa's going to expire in a couple of days, so he's got to get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I get it, but yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And anybody would have done that if they would
I
have
was
had
just
him.
trying to look up. Okay. All right. I was just trying to look up kind of see where, because that snowstorm in '96 it started on January 6th and ran till January 8th of 1996, and the ECW crew would have been just off House Party, so they're going in between. It looks like in between Philadelphia and Queens during that week. So imagine Hoovy stranded in Queens. He's looking for Bob Orton Sr.
Who knows who he's looking for? Like, were they playing a game of hide and seek, where Bob Orton just got up in the morning and said, "Who come find me?" Yeah, who knows what the fuck who was? Yeah, I mean, it was a bad snowstorm. I remember because I was stranded at a friend's house for like 7 or 8 days, and he was the first friend of mine that I knew that had like a kegerator at his house. Like it was me and another guy and my buddy that lived there, and we were stranded there, and we're like, dude, what are we gonna do for beer? He's like, dude, I got a kegerator and a full keg of beer there, so we just stayed there for a couple of days, and then when we killed that keg, we just journeyed out, like fucking, we were in fucking Empire Strikes Back and shit. Like walking through the snow, trying to, going out looking for beer. But yeah, I mean, that's how it was that year. I mean, that's how it was here. So I can imagine how it was there. And that's the reason why I probably wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. The next thing we see on this show is Joey Styles back at the arena discussing the fact that at the next ECW arena show, it's going to be Shane Douglas versus Cactus Jack, former friends facing off against each other. And then we get a fun promo from Cactus and Mikey Whipwreck, which is always entertaining, but this was particularly fun.
Yeah, Mick had his Mr. Potato Head and said that he trusts Mikey's the only guy he trusts, and he wants him to go to the WWF so they can wrestle his smoking guns in Madison Square Garden. And Mikey's just like, I like it here. I don't, I'm not leaving.
And I love that Jack's just like randomly like, hey, Mikey, would you kill somebody for me? Jesus Christ, Jack.
I honestly didn't think it was that great.
No, I liked this one. I liked this one.
I mean, it was okay. But I definitely don't have the same emotion that you guys had with this. I was like, yeah, all right, it was okay. I just didn't think it was that great. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I'm not gonna pick it apart. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like in my opinion, something wasn't there. Whether it was the emotion or I don't know what it was. It's just, to me, I was just watching it going, all right, enough. Where's Joe McHugh?
Joe McHugh. And then, so after this, like Aaron said, essentially Mikey's trying to tell Jack, I don't want to go to the WWF with you and wrestle the Smoking Guns. I'm happy in ECW. So then we go into a tag team match. It is Cactus Jack and Mikey Whipwreck, the ECW tag team champions, against the Eliminators. And of course, Raven is in the corner. Mikey doesn't like the fact that Raven's involved with any of this. Cactus has on his pro WWF shirt. So there you have the story going into the match to set things up the way they go down as the match goes on.
Oh, I'm just a big fan of the fucking Eliminators. I don't think I even noticed any of that nonsense. Like I literally from the day that I met him in Louisville, I told fucking Hot Dog Neck Ian, I was like, dude, these guys are gonna be big stars. That's when they were working in Memphis. And when they got to ECW, and I was like, dude, and then I got to work them. And they were like, all right, I think it was me and I don't know, Hartgood or something like that. And they were talking about the finish, and I'm like, no, I'm taking it. Nah. I'm taking total elimination. I'll let them do all the other shit to fucking Hartgood. But I was like, dude, I'm taking that nonsense. But yeah, I always fucking love the Eliminators, especially fucking Cronus. Saturn's kind of a fucking donkey. But yeah, Cronus was always cool. Yeah, I love the Eliminators.
It would have been great, and I guess, I don't know what you chalk it up to, whether you chalk it up to extracurricular activities or whatever. But I always think it would have been great if Cronus would have been able to go with Saturn to WCW and seen them as a team there. And then go.
I honestly never knew them. I didn't know them to be any like drug guys. I didn't know this. Like, is there anything that I don't know about this that I should know about?
I've just always heard that and again, I don't know because I don't know him, but just in interviews and stuff that I've seen with other people and things that I've read, it's always one of those questions of why didn't Cronus wind up, having a bigger career like Saturn did. And I've always heard that it was things that he did behind the scenes that held him back.
I don't know. Maybe he wasn't a wrestling guy. You know what I mean? Because I'm just telling you from my firsthand experience
mm-hmm.
that I never knew them to be drug guys. I mean, maybe Cronus just wasn't a wrestling dude, you know? Like, that wasn't his thing. Because, I mean, I knew there was always heat between them because Saturn was always more serious than Cronus was. I knew that. That was nobody can deny any of that. But maybe that's the problem. With Saturn was like, this is what I want to do, and then Cronus was like, yeah, well, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean?
I just want to have fun. Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, dude. You know.
Aaron, any notes or comments on this matchup? I have a little bit of detail down here, but I was going to see what you had yourself, what you caught.
It was a good match. It had a lot of extra things going on in it and everything like that. But for the most part, I enjoyed it. Everybody was doing their job. Good stories were being told, and it didn't feel like it dragged. And I enjoyed the match, and you can tell that. I mean, obviously everybody knows, but like you can tell that they're getting ready to peace out Mick. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the writing's on the wall that he's out. So it's kind of like you knew they had to get the belts off of him, and these are the best guys to do it because I think they're their most over team they have, in my opinion.
So
And if you're telling this, go ahead, Chad.
Mike turned on him, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. The kind of your story that you're telling, and if you're telling the story of Mikey Whipwreck is kind of fighting with both Raven and the WWF for Mick Foley's soul, then this is the match where Mikey Whipwreck loses his buddy, he loses his partner because he's not willing to go down that road that Jack is willing to go down, and Jack kind of lambastes him during the match, in the middle of the match, like if you don't want to do things the way I want to do them, you can get out of here. And so they kind of tell that story throughout the match of these guys breaking up their team.
Dude, just to pull the curtain back a little bit, a tad bit. How easy of a night was that for Mick Foley? You know, I mean, when somebody laid the plan out for Mick, like this is what I want to do, and then Mick said, okay, well I'll do all this, which means I ain't gonna do anything. I'm just gonna go out there and I'll talk a lot, but I ain't taking bumps. You know,
we're gonna let Mikey take the ass whipping. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's tremendous, dude. That's Mick Foley probably getting in about maybe 6, 8, 9 months into like figuring out the pro wrestling business. How I can do a lot with, you know, by doing a little.
Yep, and in the end, essentially what brings the team down is Mikey still being the baby face, because after all their arguing during the match, there's a broken bottle spot, and Saturn tries to, or either one of the eliminators tries to stab Cactus with the broken bottle. Mikey saves Cactus from the bottle, but eats total elimination and gets pinned, and they lose the tag team titles to the Eliminators. So at the end of the day, Mikey's still the baby face. He still tried to save his friend. And then afterward, Jack fucks him and gives him the DDT and turns on him.
Wow. All that in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
They just, damn, all right, okay. So now you got Joey Styles who's got to digest all this and then regurgitate it all to you people. You know what I mean? Tell you what happened. Fuck. That's a lot of shit in no time.
There was nobody, I don't think there was anybody alive that put a headset on in the 1990s that could have expressed what was going on in ECW to you better than Joey Styles could have, if what I'm saying makes sense. Like, there is nobody else you could put the headset on and say, watch this and describe it to the people and make it make sense. And Joey fucking did it, man, and he was awesome.
Well, that the best part was it was already taped. So Joey had Paul to tell him how to make it make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's no chance that when Joey was doing the whole, I'm at the ECW arena. No, you ain't making that make sense, dude.
Yeah, imagine if it was still Jay Sully.
Why wouldn't
Oh,
Jay
he tried.
Sully?
Jay
He
Sully would
tried
have
when it was.
he would have had a coronary.
Well, I'm saying he tried when it was kind of simple, and it drove him to sweats and drinking, so he had to go. But seriously, on Joey, the best thing, the other cool thing about Joey is too, like he kind of did towards the end, but it would have been very easy for him to how do I want to say it, be like the extreme, like go along with it. But he sold this extreme crazy shit as a actual wrestling commentator. You know what I mean? Like the suit, and he sold it, and he didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like he could have. He
No,
could
but
have.
he also didn't. He also didn't sell it as extreme as to the point where that nobody had ever seen this before. Like it was kind of normal to him. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, some of the stuff, like the chairs in the ring, all that kind of stuff was different. But for the most part, it was like, yeah, this is Philadelphia. Like, how many times did he say that? That this is Philadelphia, And I'm like, dude, who wants to go to Philadelphia? Fuck, you know. I live 112 miles away from Philadelphia. But if I know I'm going to Philadelphia, I get out of my car and somebody's gonna throw chairs at me. No, I don't want to go there. You know what I mean? Yeah, but Joey did a great job of telling you like about the fans and about
Mm-hmm.
this is the way we are, and which is great. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
When we come back from what I assume was a commercial break, we see Joey Styles, and he is talking with the Eliminators about becoming the new tag team champions. Francine comes out, talks a little shit, whatever, but she's really out there just to distract the Eliminators. Obviously she's putting on airs that she wants to join the Eliminators, but she's out there to distract them so the Pit Bulls can attack them. And that's what happens. The Pit Bulls attack the Eliminators and hang Saturn with a chain over the top rope. And then they cut Saturn's hair.
Well, I mean, we all kind of know why. I mean, the pit bull was still there, right? They're only there because they need a tag team for the Eliminators to beat. You know, the Rottens are gone. Public Enemy's kind of gone, right? At this point.
Yeah, at this point, Public Enemy's headed to Atlanta. Yeah, they're in WCW at this point.
Yeah, so there's no other tag team. So you gotta fucking find somebody for them to beat. And the Eliminators, I've always been a fan of the Eliminators. Dude. Once I met them in Louisville, I was like, dude, I've seen your tapes, I've seen your stuff. You guys are okay, man. Yeah, you guys are solid, whatever. And I've always been high on them, and but there literally wasn't anybody in ECW that was as good as they were. There wasn't. They were clearly better than anybody in that company. So they had to work down the people. Except for, Cactus and, and high profiles.
Right.
But you know what I mean?
Aaron, what did you think of this segment?
It was just, it was good stuff, and it was like, it shows that you can still do. It's still just wrestling, like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's a haircut and a hanging. You know what I mean? Like it's been done a billion times, but it still works. So I enjoyed it.
It was fine, dude. I had no problem with it. It was cool.
So as we go away from that segment and we head into what's going to be kind of sort of a Pulp Fiction segment, we get a Gangsters promo. And the Gangsters are challenging the Eliminators. You know, that they're on the horizon to challenge them for the tag team titles. Of course, Jack is talking and Mustafa's just making noises.
After you smoke crack.
And I wrote down here, Tommy Dreamer, Candle Wax. What a goof.
Well, I mean, what can we say about Tommy Dreamer that we haven't already said?
His attempts, I think that his attempts at this dark, brooding Tommy Dreamer are what literally turned me off from Tommy Dreamer, and I never went back. Because I can actually remember back before he started doing that shit, not minding him that much. But once he starts trying to match Raven with like the brooding thing, and it's like it just comes off as this community college theater garbage that just is, it's so stupid. He looks stupid.
He's not good at it.
No, he's not
don't
at
do
all.
shit that you don't like. He could have like, I don't want to say it.
The only reason why I subscribe to Sirius XM Radio is that I listen to Busted Open every day. From 9 to noon, every day, 3 hours. Pro Wrestling Talk. 3 days a week, we're supposed to get Bully Ray. 1 day a week, we get Mickey James. And then 1 day a week, we get Thunder Rosa. Whatever that means. But anytime nobody can fill in or somebody can't be there, they bring in Tommy Dreamer. The fucking worst fucking episodes of Busted Open are when Tommy Dreamer's on the show. He's not fucking. He doesn't bring any emotion like to the matches that he had or to the show. He stinks. I mean, you guys don't listen, do you?
I don't listen to Busted Open on Sirius. They have a podcast that is like a shorter version of the show that I do listen to that. But I don't have Sirius, so I don't listen to the live show every day, but I do get to listen to part of the show every day.
Tommy's terrible.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, it's almost like he should be like an enhancement talent on the radio. You know, give him an 8-minute segment. You know, other than that, you put him over 3 hours. Come on, dude. You know, I got things to do today. I can't be limping around the house all fucked up, you know, crippled, listening to Tommy Dreamer talking about his days in ICW or whatever the fuck. Fuck. I got time for that shit. Fuck you, Tommy Dreamer.
But yeah, Tommy Dreamer and Beulah doing a little promo here and with dark lighting and candle wax or whatever. Aaron, did you have anything else on that before we move on?
It was stupid. That's like essentially what I had. I was like, oh, this is stupid. And I'm not saying he could have still been suspender Tommy Dreamer feuding with Raven and remain in ECW, but he could have stopped trying to match Raven's style of promo. It's like, it's not going to work, dude.
No, they did it the wrong way. And it's only because ECW didn't have the time to allow them to build it the right way. That's what I've always said. I would have gotten behind Tommy Dreamer if he was, you know, the suspended Tommy Dreamer. You know, they got the cane, you know, and you know all that shit. If they would have slow built it, but they didn't. They went right from, all right, you're a handsome guy, boom, cane, boom. Now you're fucking in a with Raven over, some fucking broad that you fucked at a summer camp, kind of thing. Like if they would have did it in a slower way, that the fans could have got. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, fans did get behind it, but not the way they would have, in my opinion. If they would have built it a lot slower than that,
Mm-hmm.
and and let you be like, man, why is this guy? Why is this guy getting treated like this every single week? And then you're like, well, and he's like, I don't understand why I'm getting beat up every week, kind of thing. It would have helped him in the long run.
Yeah,
But
I mean, literally the best thing he ever did was the "Please, sir, may I have another" shit with Sandman. But they didn't.
It was short lived.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you were saying, they didn't slow build it. They didn't stretch it out. They just moved him right into the stuff with Raven, which I don't know if that was Scotty wanting to work with Dreamer, or because I don't know. To be honest, did they have a relationship before they worked together here?
Well, I mean, no, I think that it was time. The way Paul was working on TV time and shit like that, they didn't have a whole lot of time to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I look back a couple of days ago. I look back at old Continental when Eddie Gilbert booked Continental, and how they went, and you can see the crowd change from 600 people to like a full house when Eddie Gilbert booked, and the way he booked stuff, and it was slow.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of rushed the Tommy Dreamer thing. Like, yeah, well, I'm hardcore. Well, are you? Well, I'm gonna beat you up with a fucking cane. All right, well, now you're hardcore. I don't. You know what I mean? Fuck. Now you're hardcore. Like they really could have put more time into that, but yeah, I don't blame ECW for that. I blame just time for that. They didn't have
Mm-hmm.
that. They had to get it done, get it pushed out there to where they wanted it to be. That's what I attribute it to be.
The only other two things that I have written down from this Pulp Fiction segment at the end of the show is we have a promo where Scorpio spends what felt like 8 minutes telling us he's good, and then he eventually just kisses his belt. But I don't know what the fuck was going on, but he was just kissy, 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 kiss, kiss, kissy, kissy, and then he kissed his belt.
I'll tell you what I thought when I saw this. I was going to record this and put it on my phone for the Halloween on my recording when people came to my house, because I live on a main road, so I'm not going to get a whole bunch of trick or treaters. But I figured that if I was going to put that fucking promo on my record thing and just play it when they showed up. You can kids, whatever, and see how many kids just walked away. when they,
And then, of course, go ahead, Aaron. You look like you were going to say something.
I was just gonna say, like, you guys are talking, like, because in this thing we get Cactus Jack and Raven, then Shane Douglas, Taz, and Bill Alfonso, the Pitbulls, the Gangstas, Tommy Dreamer and Beulah, Raven and Kimona, and I'm looking at the timing, and they go with Too Cold, and I'm like, are they really gonna end this with Too Cold? Like, out of all these people that I just listened to, they're gonna end with Too Cold, and I wasn't expecting the Eliminators to pop up, but I'm like, okay, thank God. It's like, oh, let's put all these great promos and Tommy Dreamer ahead of Too Cold, and just end it with this, and I'm like, oh my God, don't do that.
I don't understand why they just didn't use the same Too Cold Scorpio promo from 3 years prior, because it pretty much was the same.
Yeah. A whole lot is said and absolutely nothing is said.
Nothing was said.
But yeah, like Aaron said, at the end, we get a cool, intense promo from Saturn, pretty much saying, Do you think I care that you cut my hair? Do you think I care that you hung me with a chain? Do you think I care? Essentially, it's we have the belts and we're gonna fight and keep them. And it was an effective little promo from Saturn.
I tell you one thing, I would give a shit. I would give a shit if you hung me and you cut my hair. Like I don't know what Saturn's problem is. Why he's so egotistical that he don't give a shit. But I would give a fuck. Isn't that why they do them angles?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ask Bill Dundee. Ask Jerry Lawler. Ask Austin Idol. Ask that, that's why they do them angles. Because you give a shit. Oh, I don't give a shit. They did like every Memphis angle in one spot. That's not killing the town. That's just giving people way too much to how you come back to it. You know what I mean? Dude, you do it one at a time. One at a time. You hang them first. Fuck. Then you cut his hair. They beat his kid, his wife, his kids, you know what I mean? And they tore up his mortgage payments, Yeah. They fucked up his car. Fuck. They did everything in one thing. Even Jerry Lawler's probably sitting back there going, what the fuck are these guys doing?
Well, overall, to close out the show, what did you guys think of this episode of ECW?
Aaron?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it kept stories going, and it didn't feel like it was. It didn't feel like it drug out or anything like that. So I thought it was a good show.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun show. I mean, not necessarily anything that I thought was a great show. I just thought, yeah, man. I watched it in haste because I had little time to fuck around to watch it before we had to go on, so I had to hurry up and watch it. But when I watched it, I was like, all right, man, yeah, this is all right, this is cool. Not a bad show. I hate them shows, Nate, when I'm busy and I gotta do shit, and then I have to hurry up and watch the show, and I don't feel like I have enough time to get into it.
Yeah.
But it got me into it, and I was like, dude, moving to it and Ray was fucking, with something else, like that was good shit. A lot of other stuff. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent show. I mean, I'd give it a solid. I'd give it a solid B-.
I'd say about the same. It kept my interest the whole time. There was never a point in the show where I felt like you're kind of alluding to, Chad. There was never a point in the show where I felt like, oh well, I guess I can go fucking sweep the floor or whatever right now while this match is on or whatever. It kept my attention the whole 45 minutes and didn't let up. And that's the point is keep the viewer's attention, and the show definitely did that.
And especially considering it's on the network.
Yeah.
So if you watched it in real time, it was an hour of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine it being that way. Like when they go to a commercial break and you had to go to the bathroom or whatever, But now on the network, it's 45 minutes, 42 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You plow right through it. Yeah, it was a solid show.
All right. Well, listeners, I want to thank you all for joining us for this week's edition of Reliving the Extreme. Thank Chad and Aaron for joining me and hosting the show. And check us out on social media on Facebook. Check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Reliving the Extreme. And I've even started uploading the shows to the WNR Podcast Network YouTube page. So if you like to listen to your podcast on YouTube, you can do that there as well. So that being said, we're going to...
An hour.
Yeah. We made an hour out of this. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week here on Reliving the Extreme.